These are the new patch notes. We've been waiting. I think a lot of the developers were off, so there wasn't patch notes for a while, but we have some class tuning incoming on January 10th, and I'm really curious to see what we have in store, okay? I've not looked at this. This is a completely dry read through. With scheduled weekly maintenance next week, a number of specializations will receive throughput increases to several spells targeted at improving the performance in Raid and Mythic Plus content. It is our intent that these changes help make these specializations viable options for Raid and Dungeon content. Demon Hunter. The Hunt's damage over time effect no longer deals an additional tick on application. Damage dealt over the total duration remains unchanged. Okay. So that's a good change, because what would happen is you'd get hunted and then a dot would tick at the same time, effectively just making it burst for that much more. Vengeance, thick armor, a bonus, increased to 130%, was 100%. Calcified skins, initial damage reduction value. This is Vengeance Demon Hunter. Painbringer duration increased to 6 seconds. Okay. Feral, all ability damage increased by 3%. Okay. Fire breath damage increased by 10%. Does not apply in PvP combat. Lay waste increases deep breath damage by 15-30%. Wow. That's big. That's a big modifier. Eternity Surge damage increased by 10%. Firestorm damage increase. Eye of Infinity generates 2 essence on a critical strike. Was 1. Spellweaver's dominance increases 2. Wow, even bigger crits? That is absolutely insane. Iridescence damage bonus increased. All right, so Evoker's got some serious, like, consistent damage buffs. That's really nice. Cool. Let's see. Survival. All ability damage and pet damage increased by 2%. Butchery and Carve damage increased. Fear of the Eagle damage increased. Wild Bomb damage increased as well. So they buffed Survival. Mage, let's see here. Flame Strike damage increased by 15%. And Living Bomb damage increased by 25%. I don't think these changes really mean much for PvP. Living Bomb is pretty useless. Even a 25% buff it's really bad. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, Living Bomb is terrible. So 25%, I really doubt does anything for PvP. Frostbolt damage increased by 20%. That's really crazy. Ray of Frost damage increased by 40%. That is absolutely crazy. And Glacial Spike damage increased by 10%. So my knee-jerk reaction to this is I think Ray of Frost might end up hitting too hard. I always am a big fan of Frostbolt buffs. I think when Frostbolt, Fireball, and Arcane Blast do damage, like when the filler spells do damage for casters, I think it just makes the spec feel like a lot more fluid personally. So I think this is, I like Frostbolt. Not sure how I feel about Glacial or Ray of Frost, but these are like the general changes. So I don't know if there's PvP changes. I assume that there is. Brewmaster. Efficiency of stagger against magical damage is increased. Cooldown of Celestial Brew reduced to 45 seconds. Okay. Mistweaver, all healing increased by 5%. Vivify healing increased by an additional 5%. Blacklight kick damage increased by 6%. Rising Sun kick damage increased by 8%. Tiger Palm damage increased by 15%. Spinning Crane kick damage increased by 5%. Awaken Phalanx now transfers 70% of Spinning Crane kick damage into healing. Holy shit. Those are all Mistweaver changes, by the way, not Windwalker changes. So those are not Windwalker changes. Okay, so they're giving some damage buffs. I don't know how much that really... I don't know what that really means or how much that really matters, but yeah. Crusader Strike damage buffed by 40%. Okay. Blade of Justice damage. These are insane. Like, I don't really know how hard Crusader Strike hits, but 40% seems like a huge... Final Reckoning. Final Reckoning also hits very... Okay. I don't know about this Ret stuff. I mean, if you're a Ret Paladin, you're probably going to be happy. Shield of Vengeance cooldown. That's a huge change. Going from a 2-minute cooldown to a 90-second cooldown is massive. Final Reckoning hits really, really hard. So I'm not really sure. I've been hit by that for like 160k. I'm not biased against Rets. I think Rets are kind of underrepresented for their strength right now. I know I'm going to get some shit for that, but we'll see. I mean, here it is. Let's see what happens. All healing increased by 3% for Holy. Okay, Shadow. Focus will provide 10% damage reduction, down from 15. Okay. Mind Blast damage increased. Okay. Mind Flay damage increased. Okay. Mind Spike damage increased. Okay. The change of focus will is targeted change for PvP. Didn't they buff Shadow Priest damage? I mean, maybe it gets nerfed later, but we'll see. Okay. Outlaw. Precise Cuts talent. Reduces the bonus to Blade Fury damage per missing target below its maximum. Okay, that's like a Mythic Plus change. A Warlock. Here we go. Affliction, Agony, damage increased by 5%. Corruption, damage increased by 5%. Drain Soul, damage increased by 10%. Pandemic, Invocation, damage increased by 20%. Seed of Corruption, 5%. Shadow Bolt, 10%. Siphon Life, 10%. Unstable Affliction, backlash damage is no longer increased from increased damage dealt. Interesting. So a bunch of Affliction Warlock buffs. Destruction Warlock buffs as well. We got Rain of Fire, Channel Demon Fire, Soul Fire, Infernal and Blasphemy damage. And then what do they do? Okay, they actually buffed Conflag, Immolate, and Incinerate, but these do not affect PvP. Okay. So these last three do not affect PvP. These first four absolutely do. Okay. So a little bit of like Destro buffs, but obviously they didn't want to over buff it, I suppose. Now we can look at the player versus player. Okay, so these changes that we just looked at, these are for mostly Raid and Mythic Plus. So if you're wondering, like, Frost is just getting buffed over and over and over and over. It is. And the reason why is because it sucks in PvE. It's the worst spec in the game. It's one of the worst specs in the game in PvE. So they just are buffing the damage, which is like, as a PvPer, what you kind of want is your class to be like kind of mid, like Frost Mage is, and then be bad in PvE. Because there's a good chance you just get damage buffs then. So that's kind of where we're at. But we can look at the PvP changes. Maybe they offset that. I really don't know. Let's take a look. Demon Hunter. Soul Rending Leech bonus reduced by 40%. Damn. Glimpse damage reduction reduced to 35%. Was 75%. That's a huge change. Essence Break damage bonus for Chaos Strike and Blade Dance reduced by 37.5%. Holy shit. Soul Rend damage reduced. Okay. We've noticed Demon Hunters are overperforming in several facets of PvP, including personal survivability, burst damage, overall DPS. We're taking action to reduce their effectiveness in these areas. Hell yeah. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but I still want Demon Hunters to be fun and viable, but they were definitely over the top. So these seem like big changes. Yeah, they seem like really, really big changes. Preservation, energy loops, mana regeneration reduced. Okay. So Preservation Evoker's ability to regenerate their mana is going to be going down a little bit. Mage, Arcane, Siphon Storm's effectiveness reduced by 50% in PvP. They nerfed Mitch Jones, dude. It's literally just a Mitch Jones nerf. Frost, Glacial Spike reduces Glacial Spike's damage increase from Mastery by 25%. Interesting. So basically they made the one... This is an interesting way to change Glacial Spike. So basically they made it so if you don't... Like, I don't think Glacial hits too hard if you're not stacking Mastery, right? Like, in like a normal circumstance, I'll get like 150,000 crit, which is pretty good, but it's not the craziest thing ever. And there is downtime and like ramp up for Glacial Spike, so... but when it gets really crazy is when people stack Mastery. When you have like lots and lots of Mastery, you can get like 250,000 Glacial crits, and I do think that's a bit over the top. So stacking Mastery for Glacial Spike is going to be worse. And basically what that means is if you want to play Mastery as a Frost Mage, you probably just don't want to play Glacial Spike at all. Because I'm pretty sure even with this Glacial buff right here, you don't want to cast Glacial. In PvE, for example. Like in PvE, let me just explain something to you. What you do is you pick this talent called Splintering Cold, which makes it so Frostbolt and Flurry generate icicles. And that way, every time you Frostbolt, every time you shadow that Frostbolt with Flurry, and every time you Ice Lance, you're building icicles with Splintering Cold and Hailstones. So I think actually Splintering Cold might be a good PvP talent in the future if you're going to play Mastery. But yeah, we'll go back down here. So yeah, Frost and Arcane getting a little bit of like one-shot nerfs, I suppose. Monk. Okay, so this is Windwalker Monk. Blackout Kick damage increased by 30%. Jeez. Okay. Okay, so I already know what's coming. This is the, hey, we're nerfing your damage, but we want to give you a little consistent damage to compensate, which I don't really mind. But let's see. Rising Sun Kick now deals 12% additional damage. Okay, so they nerfed Rising Sun Kick for Mistweaver. Thunder Fist damage reduced by 40%. Skyreach increases critical strike chance in 30%, down from 50%. Fist of Fury damage increased by 15%. Okay, interesting. So they buffed Fist of Fury, they buffed Blackout Kick, they buffed Tiger Palm, but they nerfed Thunder Fist and Skyreach. I personally think I love these changes. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I saw some people in the chat complaining, but I think these are actually amazing changes. Like as someone who plays Windwalker Monk, I think these changes are fucking awesome. Like, you nerf the gimmicky one-shot, but you actually buff, like, the consistent damage of a monk, which is great. Yeah, Chun-Li said it best. He said it's slowly moving away from being a 1-minute Andy. I personally feel like they absolutely nailed these monk changes. Unbelievable. Really, really good. All right, cool. I think that's absolutely great. Because I do think Thunderfist is dumb. Like, Thunderfist is stupid. Overall, a nerf? Yeah, but I don't care. Windwalker monks, I'm going to be honest, man. Sometimes as a monk, the amount of damage you can do with Thunderfist is stupid. And certainly receiving damage from the monk, it's absolutely ridiculous when a monk rolls over, weapon attacks with his main hand, weapon attacks with his offhand, and double crits a Thunderfist for 180k at the same time, 150k Rising Sun Kick land. Like, it's stupid. So I'm really happy that they ended up buffing this. I think these are great changes. I think I'm really happy with these, even though, like, I do think it's probably overall a net nerf. I think it's puts monk in like a much more positive position. All right, priest flash healing is increased by 30%. Okay, holy healing is increased by 35% in PvP. Wow. Holy Word Serenity healing is increased by 15%. Holy received PvP reductions in casted healing effectiveness in previous patches that we now feel are unnecessary and we are reverting. We also feel Holy Word Serenity has not been effective as we'd like at handling burst damage, so we're increasing that as well. Great changes. So far, I think they've nailed all the changes in terms of PvP. Now, let's see. What happened to Shadow? Shadow Word Death damage reduced by 30% was 20%. Okay, so it was already nerfed. It's not a 30% nerf. It went from a 20% nerf to a 30% nerf. So, Mind Blast damage reduced by 25%. Ugh. Interesting. Mind Spike damage reduced by 25%. That is a lot of damage nerfs. But it is getting buffed up here. I wonder what... So Shadow Priest is getting a lot of buffs up here, right? Like, what did Shadow get? Mind Flay damage, Mind Blast damage, Mind Spike damage, Void Torrent damage, Devouring Plague damage. So I think these are to offset those buffs a little bit. Vampiric Touch damage reduced by 5% in PvP. Was increased by 10%. Damage reduced by... Okay, so they actually buffed VT. So VT damage got buffed. A proc rate of Shadowy Insight has been reduced. The proc rate of Surge of Darkness has been reduced. Shadow Priests have been widely overperforming, so we're looking at to offset the recent PvE buffs to them and reduce their power defensively through changes to Focus Will. We're also reducing their instant proc damage availability as we feel Shadow Priests do not have to hard cast spells as often as we would like them to. Oh, it's reduced by 5%. Oh, I misread this. You're right. So I thought what this said was it used to be reduced by 10%, but it used to be increased by 10%. Yeah, that's a fat nerf. Damn, dude. That's a... I mean, Shadow Priests are very good right now. But yeah, these are... It always looks scary when you see big numbers like 25% and stuff like that, but I guess we'll see how it plays out. Yeah, Ray of Frost will be very good. It's going to do... Honestly, I think Ray of Frost will probably hit too hard. If I'm not gonna lie, I think it'll probably hit too hard. So Shadow Priest definitely got some significant nerfs. So far, the biggest losers, I would say, the biggest losers are Demon Hunters and Shadow Priest, which is really no surprise. Let's take a look at Assassination now. Assassination, improved Garrote damage. Oh, improved Garrote damage, bonus reduced by 40%. Oh my god. Iron Wire's damage reduction debuff now has a 4 seconds. Iron Wire's damage reduction debuff has a PvP duration of 4 seconds, was the base 8 seconds. Assassination's spread and single target Garrote pressure has been very high. We're targeting this by decreasing the effectiveness of improved Garrote. Iron Wire's damage reduction effect has also felt too potent to us at preventing enemy pressure. I didn't even know that this... What the hell is Iron Wire? Did you guys know about Iron Wire? I didn't know that rogues reduced my damage when they Garroted me. 15% damage reduction on Garrote. What the heck? I didn't even know that. Okay, well, there you go. Warlock, Demonology. Demonic Strength unleashes a Fellstorm that deals 150% increased damage in PvP combat. Was 400%. What? Is this a massive nerf? It was 400%? What is this? What is this Fellstorm? Is that the Beyblade? Why was that doing 400%? The Beyblade had a 400% PvP modifier? That is ridiculous. I didn't even... Why? Why did this ever have a 400% modifier? Oh, that wasn't a PvP modifier. Oh, okay. Demonic Strength unleashes a Fellstorm that deals 150% increased damage in PvP. Oh, okay. I understand. I understand now. Okay, so there was not a PvP modifier. I get it. Okay. So the Beyblade Spinny Spin got nerfed. Demon Fire damage increased by 75% in PvP. Demon Fire damage increased. What the heck is that? Dreadbite damage reduced by 10%. Oh, Tyrant. So Tyrant got a fat buff. Okay. So Tyrant got a buff. The Spinny Spin got nerfed. And their Dreadbite got nerfed. Interesting. We feel Demonic Strength can be difficult spell to notice and has a little counterplay compared to Demon Tyrant and associated Demon Fire cast. We're looking to adjust Demonology's burst sources while aiming to keep them at the same relative power. We've also wanted to significantly reduce Demonology's overall pressure by targeting Dreadbite. Okay. Warrior. Defensive stance now reduces damage by 15%. Oh, damage done. Okay, good. I can't read. Defensive stance now reduces damage done by 15%, was 20%. So basically, they're making it a little less punishing to be in D stance. Defensive stance was adjusted in previous patches to address damage issues we no longer feel are present for warriors. We're increasing damage done in defensive stance to help their offensive pressure without affecting them defensively. Okay, so in conclusion to these patch notes, Demon Hunters obviously got some significant nerfs. Feral's got a buff. Devastation Evoker's got a buff. Survival Hunter's got a buff. Frost Mage has got a buff. I just want to, because I play a lot of Frost Mage, I want to just comment on this really quickly. I think the way they handled Glacial was good. Glacial Spike needed a buff in PvE, but I don't think it needed more damage in PvP, personally. So I'm actually really happy that this got buffed and they nerfed it at the same time. I think that was a smart way of nerfing it with Mastery. Ray of Frost, I am afraid that Ray of Frost might do too much damage. And it can be really hard to avoid Ray of Frost. I'm curious to see it. It does have a long cooldown, but I think Ray of Frost is absolutely gonna be worth taking. And I am concerned that it might be too good now. Like 40% is a huge number. It's a massive number. So I would not be surprised if this gets nerfed in the future, to be honest. But I'm very happy that they buff Frostbolt. Yeah, I'm very happy that they buff Frostbolt. But Ray of Frost, I mean, this is a PvE change, right? But I think in the future, we'll likely see a nerf to it. And then, yeah, they nerfed Mitch Jones. I want to do a little conclusion about Monk as well. Although I think these changes to Monk probably reduce their overall effectiveness at like one-shotting. I love the direction that they're taking the class. I think Windwalker Monks for a really long time have just been kind of like a 1-minute Andy with Skyreach, with Kiefer Skyreach. And stuff. So I think it's awesome that they're buffing Tiger Palm, they're buffing Blackout Kick, they're buffing Fist of Fury, and then they're nerfing some of the like stupid one-shots from, you know, the 50% crit and Thunder Fist. So personally, very positive changes towards Monk, I think, in general, and I think more classes should get changes like this. So very happy about that. Ret's got some buffs. Holy Priest got some nice buffs. Shadow Priest got some pretty significant nerfs. Assassination Rogues got a little bit of nerfs. Demo Warlocks got some changes. I mean, they said that they want to keep them relatively similar in terms of strength, their burst at least. So Demon Fire got a big buff, but their Spinny Spin got nerfed, which I think could work out for them. Yeah, this is great. What is his first comment I see? Thanks for the Wrestle Shaman buffs. Oh, wait. It's so funny to me. I have to say one more thing. It's so funny to me how many people don't realize how good Shaman are. I'm telling you. I made on my tier list, this is just a conclusion. In my tier list about a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, I said that Shaman was S tier in solo shuffle. I stand by that statement 100%. I think Shamans are absolutely amazing. I think the throughput is through the roof right now once you learn how to heal. But it's so funny to me that people still think they're not good. They're crazy. And I'm actually starting to see people complain. Like I saw Zilia complaining about Shaman on Twitter. So it's happening, man. As predicted, it's happening. But yeah, great changes.